What does it really mean to be a pro photographer in 2023? Now, I'm guilty of being a traditionalist. I don't know where it comes from. I am guilty, and this harps back to other walks of life. I used to be a cyclist. I was very guilty of having these preconceived things like, oh, you must do this, you must do that. This is the path. This is the way we do things. This is the traditional route. And I am somewhat guilty of that in photography. This is the traditional route. We shoot stills. We don't mess with video. We don't do this. We don't go on YouTube. It's a very traditional career path. It's very gatekeepery, I think is a good way to put it. But things are changing. It's 2023. The world has changed. When I started my career, digital billboards were kind of a bit of a novelty. Moving billboards didn't exist. My first camera was a Bronica E2RSI, and I shot 645 film. So the industry's moving, the industry's changing. I am not one to be left behind. So there's some things that are new for what it is to be a photographer. And I think this ideal of the commercial photographer going out for boozy lunches in London, making $500,000 to $1 million a year, is kind of gone. It's a bit dead in the water. We can't just go, well, I'll just do the stills. I need a 50 grand budget for my crew. There's more media needed now. The shoots, they're more frequent, but slightly smaller. Not much smaller, but slightly smaller. The really big campaigns, they still happen, but there's this whole wealth of small campaigns. Last year, every campaign I shot had a moving image element. There was some sort of video involved in every single one. Whether it was a 10-second billboard, it was a stop motion, whatever it may be, there was moving image. And that is something I am now doing. One of the reasons I bought a fancy video camera for YouTube was so I can practice with the camera here to then be able to use it elsewhere. Understanding how to shoot with like dual native ISOs and different frame rates as a stills photographer, it's a little bit confusing. So part of this is actually me learning the skills to make videos. So we still have the traditional photographer. We still have the photographer taking the stills, now often doing a bit of the moving image as well. A lot of the time we actually hire in a DOP, a director of photography, to hold the camera and film it. We then have a video editor, and if we need any like machines or mechanical movements of the camera, we hire someone in to do that. And the whole thing is done almost by a crew, and it's just up here that we do. Like we're just the thoughts, the brain. We just make the decisions. We don't actually have to have all the skill set. But that traditional thing still exists in that format. We then have the sort of mixed media, almost mini agency type of photography now, where it's a whole in-house thing. You come to us, we'll do your social media, we'll do your stills, we'll do your video, we'll do your TV, we'll do the whole thing in a studio. Manchester has a real big ecosystem of this. They have photographers in on payroll. They have these studios where everyone's employed. They're all on payroll. The stylist is on payroll. They've got a creative director on payroll. There's no individual moving parts. And in Manchester, that is really the ecosystem of the industry there. It's its own little hybrid world. It's not for me personally. I don't want to be on someone's salary. I want to be my own self, my own person. But that is an entire industry, and that is absolutely still a professional photographer. There is no difference between them and me. We just work in a different business, in a different method, a different way. But we're doing the same thing. We're still both photographers. And then we have influencers. We have the Peter McKinnons of the world. We have, I can't remember, someone else began with P. I found a few of them online. They've got millions of followers. They take photographs. They don't take traditional photographs. They don't take ad campaign photographs. But they are photographers, and they're making money by being a photographer. Now, these three different paths here, they're very different. They're completely different, but they all have something in common. And I think this is where the industry's heading. Now, before we go any further than this, if you haven't already, do hit subscribe. It really helps me with this channel. The more subscribers we have, the more views we get. The more views, the more money, the more videos I can create. But back to the video. All of these, they all live under the umbrella of being a creative professional. And for me personally, I feel that with the change in AI, with the change in what photography is and videography is, and the change in how we're working, I'm going to start perhaps moving away from being a traditional photographer and start classing myself as a creative. Whatever it is, my work will look like it looks. Whether I learn how to draw, whether I learn how to paint, whether I learn CGI, whether I learn AI prompting, or stick with photography and videography, my creative work will look the same. And I think the easiest way to stay sane is just to go, well, do you know what? The method's irrelevant. The career path is irrelevant. All that matters is I am a creative professional. I create images. I create moving images, still images, the means that I do it in, the output that it goes in is irrelevant. I will be a creative. And I think once I came to terms with that, I felt a lot happier. So I think it's worth you having a similar train of thought, like just going through to it. It's like, what is it you're actually trying to do? Are you a photographer, or are you actually just a creative? And photography happens to be the vessel you're currently using. Because considering when I started, I was on film, and now I'm on digital, and now CGI exists, and then AI is coming in. 20 years' time, this industry will look completely different. And if you're the person who goes, I do photography for print billboards, you're probably going to be left behind. And I think it's a great time to start thinking of the future and start thinking of yourself in a different light, in a different way. And that it doesn't matter if you're an influencer, a bit of a mixed media creator, a traditional photographer, whatever it is, you are a creative. And we're all in it together. We're all creatives. So the snobbery doesn't do anyone any help. There's a lot of harm for sure. But having that clear idea of yourself can really help you navigate the future, I think. And I hope this is of use to somebody. If it's been of use to you, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.